When a man turns 50 and feels nothing. He woke up on his 50th birthday. There was cake, messages from old friends, maybe even a dinner with family. Everyone called it a milestone. But he felt nothing. Not joy, not pride, not regret. Just quiet. It wasn't depression. It wasn't a crisis. It was something harder to name. A slow, silent ache, like something important had gone missing, and he couldn't remember when. He had lived his life doing the right things, provided, performed, protected, played every role expected of a man, but somewhere along the way, he forgot who he was. When no one else was watching, he had mastered responsibility, but lost curiosity. He could fix anything in the house, except for the emptiness in his chest. No one warned him about this version of aging, where success doesn't feel satisfying, where solitude feels heavier, where the mirror reflects a man who kept going, but stopped growing. This isn't weakness, it's awakening, because what if feeling lost after Heltreits isn't the beginning of the end, but the start of finally coming home to yourself? So stay with me, because what follows is the truth that most men never say out loud, but every wise man must hear. The weight of silent roles. He didn't complain. He didn't make a scene. He just carried it. For decades, the weight of being the strong one, the provider, the steady hand, the fixer, the father, the husband, the son who never gave trouble. He wore each role like a badge, and no one ever asked if they were too heavy, because he never dropped them. From the outside, he looked reliable, solid, put together, but inside, he was vanishing, not in one dramatic moment, but slowly, silently, over the years of putting everyone else first. He said yes when he wanted to say no. He stayed calm when he wanted to scream. He kept going when his soul begged him to rest. Because that's what men do, right? You hold it in. You get things done. You put feelings aside. You make sure they're okay even if you're unraveling. And you don't call it suffering. You call it being a man. But here's what no one tells you. The roles we play for too long start playing us. You become the role and forget the person. You stop asking what you enjoy. What do you believe? What makes you feel alive? Because those questions don't fit in the script. And by the time you reach 50, you've spent so long being dependable that you've forgotten how to be honest with others and with yourself. So what happens? You start to feel numb, not broken, not sad, just flat. Things that used to excite you now feel like obligations. Conversations feel shallow. Friendships feel distant. And even love, if it's there, feels more like routine than refuge. And yet, you keep showing up, because the show must go on. But deep down, something inside you whispers, there has to be more than this. And there is. But it doesn't begin with a new relationship, a new project, or a new role. It begins with putting the old ones down, just for a moment, to ask a simple question: who am I when I'm not performing? Because that man, the one beneath the roles, he hasn't disappeared. He's just been waiting for you to come home. The lost man behind the mask. There's a moment, sometimes in the mirror, sometimes in the silence before sleep, when a man looks at his face and realizes, I don't know who that is anymore. He sees the wrinkles, the tired eyes, the smile that now feels like a reflex, not a reflection of joy. And he wonders, when did I stop feeling like me? It didn't happen in one day. It happened in 1,000 tiny compromises, saying what was expected, agreeing to keep the peace, swallowing opinions, numbing needs, delaying dreams, not because he's weak, but because he's responsible, because everyone needed him to hold it together. So he became the version of himself that worked, that functioned, that fits in. But somewhere along the way, the man he was, the one who used to laugh louder, feel deeper, dream bigger, got buried beneath the mask. And now, at Heltreits, that mask doesn't fit anymore. It itches, it cracks, it suffocates, because the soul can only be silent for so long. What no one talks about is this: a man can have a wife, kids, a house, career, and still feel utterly lost. Not because he failed, but because he succeeded at becoming what everyone else needed him to be. And he did it so well, He forgot who he was when no one was watching. He forgot what kind of music he likes. What kind of conversations light him up. What kind of life would he build if no one expected anything? He mastered the art of being useful, but never practiced being himself. And so now, he's waking up. Not in crisis, but in clarity. He's not angry. He's not bitter. He's just tired of pretending. He doesn't want to wear the mask anymore, but he's scared. Because who will he be without it? Will his partner still love the real him? Will his friends understand? Will he even recognize the man underneath? These are not questions of weakness. They are the questions of awakening. Because real strength isn't holding the mask tighter. It's taking it off, piece by piece, and finally saying, "This is me, unpolished, unfiltered, but real." And that man, he's worth rediscovering, because he's the only one who can lead the rest of your life. When success feels empty, he did everything right. He worked hard, paid his dues, built a career, bought the house, provided for his family. Maybe he even retired early. Maybe the numbers in the bank are higher than he ever dreamed. But something still doesn't sit right. It sits in a quiet home, maybe a little too quiet. The calendar's not full, the phone doesn't ring as often, the titles, the trophies, they're there, but they don't speak back. And he wonders, why don't I feel proud? Why do I feel nothing? Because no one told him this part. That success without soul is silent. It doesn't celebrate you. It doesn't hold you at night. It doesn't ask how you're really doing. For years, he ran toward achievement. Each raise, each milestone, each goal a promise. This will make you feel whole. But when the dust settled, he realized something chilling. He had built a life, but forgotten to build himself inside it. He wasn't wrong for chasing success. He was just never taught to balance it with meaning. They told him to provide, to conquer, to win. But they didn't tell him how to enjoy stillness, how to sit with himself, how to find identity without production. Because when your whole worth is tied to your work, what happens when the work stops? Who are you? When there's no task left to finish, no goal left to chase, no one left to impress? And so now, he walks through the home he built. He sits on furniture he paid for. He looks out at a world he once fought hard to conquer, and he feels like a stranger in his own life. It's not failure. It's emptiness. Not the kind that comes from lack, but the kind that comes from disconnection. Disconnection from joy, from curiosity, from the boy inside the man, the one who used to wonder, explore, and feel deeply. That boy still exists, but he got buried beneath decades of doing the right thing. And now is the invitation. Not to run away, not to tear it all down, but to turn inward, to ask, what truly matters now? What makes me feel alive, not just accomplished? What kind of legacy do I want to leave, beyond money and milestones? Because success isn't bad, but success without self is a quiet kind of sadness. And the good news? It's not too late to rebuild. Not from scratch, but from truth. What no one told you about aging as a man. They told him getting older meant wisdom, stability, freedom, and in some ways, it does. But they never told him about the silence, the kind that shows up when the house is quiet, the phone stops ringing, and the world no longer needs you like it used to. No one warned him that aging for a man can feel like slow invisibility. You don't get checked in on. You don't get asked how you feel. You don't get space to fall apart, because men are supposed to be rocks, even when they're crumbling inside. They told him to be dependable, but not how to be vulnerable. They taught him how to build, but not how to rest, how to protect others, but not how to protect himself. And now, here he is, still standing, but tired. Not tired from work, but from being stoic for too long. He's surrounded by people, but rarely feels seen. He hears, "Thank you for everything." But no one asks, "What do you still dream of?" Aging as a man doesn't come with celebration. It comes with quiet expectations. Stay strong. Don't complain. Be useful. Don't need much. But deep down, he does need something. He needs connection, not just responsibility. He needs touch, not just tasks. He needs meaning, not just money. But he doesn't know how to ask for it, because asking feels unmanly. So he stays silent, and the silence grows louder with each passing year. Here's the truth no one says out loud. Many men over 50 don't fear death. They fear wasting what's left. They fear waking up 10 years from now still wondering, what was all this for? And beneath that fear is a truth. He's not afraid of aging. He's afraid of aging disconnected. From others. From himself. From a life that once felt alive. But it doesn't have to end that way. Aging can be beautiful. If it's conscious. If it's not just about holding on, but letting go of what no longer serves. Letting go of outdated beliefs. Of suppressed emotions. Of roles that don't fit anymore. Because the second half of a man's life isn't meant to repeat the first. It's meant to reclaim what got lost and redefine what matters now. And that redefinition, it starts here, now, with the courage to ask, what do I want the rest of this life to feel like? Not look like, feel like, because this season isn't about being more. It's about being real. You're not broken. You're awakening. What if the emptiness you feel isn't a flaw? What if it's a signal? Not that something is wrong with you, but that something old is no longer working. You're not broken. You're awakening. And awakenings don't always feel like light. Sometimes they feel like loss, like confusion, like sitting in the quiet and realizing you no longer believe what you used to, and you're not sure what you believe now. That's not weakness. That's growth. Because growth is messy. It unravels everything that was comfortable so something more true can take its place. You see, most men spend the first half of life proving they're strong, proving they can provide, proving they matter. But the second half? It's not about proving anymore. It's about unlearning, releasing, shedding everything that isn't essential. It's about no longer chasing love through performance, no longer seeking validation through overwork, no longer measuring your worth by how needed you are. It's about finally sitting still and feeling whole without doing a thing. That's the awakening. So if you're a man over Hannah Kant, and you feel a little lost, a little numb, a little out of place, you're not alone. You're just waking up to your own voice, to your own needs, to the truth that there's more to life than what you were taught to chase. And that truth? It's not loud. It doesn't shout. It whispers, there's still time. You're not done yet. The best version of you isn't behind you. It's ahead, but only if you're willing to walk toward it, without the mask, without the script, just as you are, real, ready, and finally, awake. The road back to yourself begins now. You don't need to reinvent everything. You don't need to throw your life away and start over. You just need to come home. To yourself. Not the version of you who performed. Not the version who pleased. Not the version who survived. But the man beneath it all, quiet, steady, still alive, and still becoming. The journey from lost to found doesn't happen overnight. It happens in small, sacred steps. Saying no when you used to say yes. Speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. Doing something just because it brings you joy, not because it's productive. It's not about chasing purpose anymore. It's about remembering it. Reclaiming the parts of you that were never broken, just buried. And the beautiful truth? It's not too late. You still have time. You still have breath. You still have you. So take the next step, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. Because the road back to yourself begins now.